Hey guys, what's up? Back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna talk about the Zapdos Jirachi Jolteon deck that's been getting a lot of hype. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Um, Zapdos Jirachi has been the deck that kind of took Japan's league by storm, and it kind of made a statement like, "Hey, I'm a one-prize deck, and hey, I'm here to stay." We're gonna go through kind of what makes the deck so powerful and where Jolteon kind of fits in and what it does for this list. This is from the top 8 Korean list. I picked this one because I like the Jolteon in the deck as an inclusion. Um, there's another list in the top 16 that played one fighting, a rainbow brush, and a Buzzwole baby, which I think is super cute, but I think it's a little too cute. I'd rather play consistency. Um, that being said, let's jump into it so I can tell you guys what each of these cards does and why they're powerful together. So the first thing is we've got 4 Jirachis, and I think Jirachi is one of the most powerful cards coming out of this set. I think this will go into a lot of decks as a natural inclusion. Any deck that can play escape boards, any deck that requires digging for items. Jirachi has an ability Witch Star. Once during your turn, if this is your active, you may look at your top 5, choose a trainer, reveal it, and put it in your hand. So you can go Jirachi, find a Nest Ball, Jirachi, find like a Great Ball, Jirachi, find literally anything, kind of set up your board, or like a choice band or something like that. Just anything you need to dig for, a stretcher, yada yada. And if you're playing escape boards, while Jirachi's asleep, you can just retreat it out of the active and, do your turn freely like you would have otherwise. So it's one of the most insane cards. In a deck like this, you want to find Jirachi. Jirachi's a dual threat because 1, it finds you the items you need to find to set up and get your extra damage. And 2, it's a retreater into Zapdos, which needs a, trigger for its attack. So now we're going to go to the Zapdos. Zapdos is 3, there's 3 Zapdos in the deck because it is one of your main attackers, but it's not like your end all be all. You just want 3 of them because you don't want to really, open it because it's got 2 retreat cost. Zapdos is a basic that's got 110 HP, and for a single lightning does 10 plus 70 if this became your active this turn from your bench. And this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, so it doesn't one-shot other Zapdos, unfortunately, which was why we play 4 Electro Power to get the one-shots on other Zapdoses. Basically, it comes up from the bench, does a ton of damage, and goes back to its little hiding spot in the following turn. It's weak to lightning, but its resistance is fighting. So it's just a way. Play 2/2 Eviline, of course, Energy Evolution. And the Jolteon is actually really cute. It's got 200 HP. It's a stage 1. So 200 is a pretty okay number. It's got Electric Ballet, which does 30-30 snipe. So you basically can set up knockouts for your Zapdos coming up with a 30-30 snipe, Electro Power, so 60-30. And then with the Stadium in play, you can do for 1 lightning, 110 with Headbolt, or 110 with the GX Speedrun, and prevent all the damage and effects from attacks done to this Pokemon or your opponent's next turn. So you can just go Speedrun and try to shut them out for a turn while you're setting up your board. So you can do something like Electric Ballet, and then Speedrun into like Blacephalon's Beast Ring turn, and then the following turn do something after that. But the deck, it does have a glaring weakness where your opponent can go like Lycan Rock, Guzma, pop the Jolteon, and you're giving up 2 prizes off the bat. But Jolteon, I think, is very good in setting up those knockouts in perfect math, and it's got a free retreat cost, so you can use that as a trigger into your Zapdos, which is what I really, really like about it. There's a Zorora GX. Zorora is mostly for the Thunderclap zone. Each of your Pokemon that is lightning has no retreat cost, so you can just get whatever you got stuck in the active, even your Zapdos is into another Zapdos out. And if you can, set it up, you can get Plasma Fists off, which is 160 damage with Electro Powers. Electro Power and a Choice Band, that's a knockout on a Zoroark. If you get 2 Electro Powers, it's also a knockout on a Zoroark. So Plasma Fist is actually a very reasonable attack. I don't think you're ever going to use Full Voltage GX, but you can use the 160 a lot. Tapu Koko GX is really good for just jumping in there, getting in that 130 after you soften something up. Just move the energies onto him with Arrow Trail. Skyhawk Claws is 130. You have the Electro Powers, the Choice Band to amp up your damage. Tapu Thunder is really good against a deck that's just flooding the board with energies and you have no real answer. So you can kind of just go Tapu Thunder, something pretty early, and then kind of take your game from there. Tapu Koko Prism Star is a real star of this deck. It's really what makes this whole deck gel, in a sense. It's got the ability Ancestor Dance. It basically just goes, hey, I'm going to the Lost Zone, bye, and you just attach 2 lightning to 2 of your bench, or a lightning to 2 of your bench from your discard. There we go. It's got an attack Mach Bolt. You're never attacking with this. If this thing's on your bench, you're just using it. You can basically power up a Jolteon in a turn, and you can put an energy onto a Zorora or Zapdos, just power something up that gives basically powers up your entire Tapu Koko GX, that powers up your entire Zorora if you get the Stadium in play. It's like a one card thing that just says, hey, my board went from nothing to now I have a almost perfect board. So this card is literally one of the best cards in the set, if not in this deck. You have one Tapu Lele because consistency, you still want to find stuff. There's a 1/1 Macargo line, which I actually really, really like the more I think about it. Because the 1/1 Macargo line, it could be a Ditto Prism, like I said, in like as a basic, but the Ditto Prism doesn't serve like, it has 40 HP, which is very easy to snipe off and just get rid of. So I think Ditto Prism is very weak in this deck. Whereas the Slugma line, the Macargo line, can pretty much dig out anything you need for the following turn. And like a lot of the time with Jirachi plus Macargo, you can kind of get 2-card combos that you need every single turn to do exactly what you need every single turn. That being said, these could probably be cut for something else. Maybe more on a 4th Zapdos, maybe a 2nd Potown, maybe an Oranguru even. Just drawing cards could be pretty good for this deck. All right, let's jump into the trainer supporters line. There's 4 Guzma. Pretty standard stuff. You need a switch trigger literally for your big guy. So by getting in and out of the active, you want to be Guzma, you want to be picking off stuff, you want to be basically taking out your opponent's support more than their active attackers, and then you can deal with the attackers later. Zork is a little tough because of that, because you can't really take out their support, because they are their support. But depending on how much healing the Zork is playing, you can kind of mitigate that. And Zorora is a very good attacker, I think, in that matchup. Just getting in there and just pumping him, or popping him in the mouth. There's 3 Lily because you just want to draw a bunch of cards, and a lot of these cards are just playable turn 1, so you can just play a bunch of cards, do a bunch of stuff on turn 1. You can literally even attack on turn 1 with your Zapdos, so like it's very aggressive deck off the bat, so Lily is your best turn 1 supporter by far. There's 3 Volkner because, you know, it digs out a lightning energy, which you literally just need 1 lightning to attack with almost all of your guys. And a trainer, I believe. Let's double check that. Yeah, and an item card, yeah. So basically, you just go Volkner into Energy Electro Power, pop, 110. Volkner into Energy Nest Ball, set up your other guy. Switch Lightning, pop, you're just ready to go. Like, Volkner literally gets you the 2 pieces you need to do every turn, attacking and an energy. Like, it just gets the attack off every turn. There's 2 Professor Kukui just to help with math on some stuff, like a Zorora with a Kukui plus Choice Band will one-shot a Zoroark, Tapu Koko with the High Flying Claws or whatever with 1 Electro Power, it helps with math. Speed Run does 110, Headbolt does 110, with Kukui does 130. One-shots those baby decks. They're a little annoying. There's 4 Electro Power because it's just literally a free 30+ power for everything in your deck. Every single thing in your deck is lightning except for Tapu Lele and Macargo, but you're not attacking with those 2. Or Jirachi. I mean, you're not attacking with these guys. You could be attacking with Lele, honestly. I don't know you. I don't know your life. You could be in that dire situation. 3 Nest Ball, 3 Ultra Ball. Pretty standard stuff to just get set up. You don't really want to pitch too many resources. Ultra Ball is pretty much to just grab the Macargo and stuff like that. But the Nest Balls pretty much get everything else. Nest Balls get you everything that isn't like, you don't want to get Tapu Koko and you don't want to get Tapu Lele GXs off of the Nest Balls. That's why the Ultra Balls exist. There's 3 Switch because, again, you need to switch to attack. And Macargo could get stuck in the active. You know, stuff could happen. There's an Adventure Bag. I actually really like this Adventure Bag because Adventure Bag lets you grab either a skateboard or a choice band of your choice. So you can grab an skateboard and a choice band, and you can kind of just get in there and be very, very aggressive with what you're trying to do. And that's a lot of damage in 1 turn, honestly. 1 Stretcher because you kind of want to get some stuff back, like the Zorora, maybe the pieces of your Macargo line, maybe Jolteon, I don't know. You don't have much discard in this deck except for the Ultra Ball, so you don't really have too much you're getting rid of, but it's good to have it back. Sorry. 3 skateboard, 3 choice band, pretty standard stuff. You can have a 4th skateboard just to ensure you get out of the active with Jirachi a lot of the time, but I think that's a little excessive because you're only really going on Jirachis because nothing else really uses the skateboard. It's Jirachi and Lele. That's where your skateboards are going. You could put it on something like Jolteon's already got for your treat. You could put it on a Zapdos and pitch an energy, but you'd rather have choice bands on those Zapdoses. And, I mean, Zorora pretty much gives you the free retreat that you'd like, regardless of what you're doing. I think Zorora is actually the main star of this deck a little bit. I really, really, really like this card the more I think about it. There's 1 Potown. Kind of helps you with your math. Offsets some, mirror math with other Jolteons. Zoroark's 30+ damage on a Zoroark is actually really good because you're often, like again, with Zorora or Tapu Koko or even Zapdos, you're only a couple damage counters off of getting where you need to be. So with the Potown in play, you can just hammer away at them a little bit faster. Thunder Mountain Prism Star is the unsung star of this deck. Cost your lightning Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's cost lightning less, which is a little unfortunate because it also gives your opponent a little bit of a boost. But it's very good to use for every other matchup that isn't Mirror, pretty much. In the Mirror, the Mirror is probably just a weird interaction that I have to test out. And there's 8 lightning energies, pretty standard, pretty staple. This deck has been doing very, very good across both Japan and Korea. In the Korean League, it took the 13th place, like I said, had a Rainbow Brush, a Fighting, and a baby Buzzwole, which I think was really cute, but I don't think is needed. Another one of the lists had the Absol that stops your opponent from retreating, or basically Pokemon have 1 more retreat, so it makes Jirachi get stuck in the active, but this Aurora, mitigates that a little bit if you just attach to your Jirachi, and there's a bunch of switches again. And there's another version that played the Aether Paradise Conservation Area, which does 30 lists for both yours and your opponent's lightning, which isn't really good for anything that isn't. In the Mirror, it's not good, but every other deck it's pretty decent. Some of them play Electro Charge, which is like flip a coin. If heads, put 2 Electro Power in your hand or deck. I don't really remember. It's one of the 2 things. Let's see what other cute decks you could play. You could play Ropes. You could play. Some lists play Cynthia. This one does not. I think I like just drawing more cards option and not, having to shuffle draw, because I don't think this deck really needs to shuffle draw. I think Volkner every turn is pretty good. Some lists play Energy Spinner, which just lets you get a basic energy card, put it in your hand. If you went second, if you went second and it's your first turn, you get 3. So it's basically just, this is a lightning energy, but this could also be 3 lightning energy in a very situational case. And some lists play the Wobbuffet that stops the Prism Star Pokemon with Shady Tail. It's basically just to stop Mucks, which I think is also a really cute card. I don't know if it's necessary, depending on how many Mucks we'll see, but Zoroark could be very, very popular coming up into the new format. Let's look at a couple more lists before we call it here. You could play a Judge in these lists. Definitely something. One of the Buzzwole lists did play a Beast Energy, which is really cute, instead of the Fighting. So you can pretty much just go, hey, here's a Beast Energy, how's it going? Or you could Energy Spinner for the 1 Fighting if you played that. Let's see what else. But pretty much the rest of the lists look very standard. Nothing too crazy. One played a Raikou that does a 30 and attach, but I don't think that's very good. It's a little slow for the format that this seems to exist in. This deck doesn't get too hurt by Marshadow turn 1. One version played a Naganadel engine to kind of just get energies onto the board and use Ultra Space, but I don't like that either. So all in all, I really like this deck. I think it's worth testing into the new format. It's seen results for a reason, and I think you can't just discount the fact that, hey, maybe they're playing a best of 125 minutes, 20 minutes, or whatever. But this deck is very powerful. It has a lot of one-prize attackers. It does a lot of damage for a very little. And it'll change the metagame in a way that I don't know what'll happen yet, but I'm going to Australia, so I should probably keep testing. So good luck to all of you out there, and if you like this video, leave me a like, hit me with a subscribe, leave stuff in the comments below on what decks I should look into next. I will be streaming next week, a little bit depending on my schedule. I do have 4 exams and a bunch of other stuff coming up with life, so we'll catch you guys on the flip side, I guess.